I am Paula Hollywood with ARC Advisory Group. And the name of the session that we're going to be participating in right now is Managing Assets to Meet Operational Requirements and Minimize Risk. We heard a lot about risk this morning, but there's all kinds of risk, but we're going to talk about operational risk. But before we begin, just a few housekeeping things here. We're going to start with a few food for thought from ARC. That's me. We're going to have two presentations, one to start, one 20-minute, and then we have two presenters after that. And then we're going to do the roundtable thing. And if hopefully we get more people. If not, we'll just be more intimate. Either way, we're going to make it work. I ask that you please hold your questions to the end for those roundtable discussions. Just a reminder to silence your cell phones, please. And our our safety moment, note the exits in case of emergency. I would suggest out here to the left, goes outside. And just a reminder about this evening's activities. Aviva will be having a fiesta cocktail party out in the reception area from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and then Schneider Electric has a dinner reception after that. So here we go. This particular chart came from an ARC survey that we did probably in 2011, I'm going to say, but I think it's still valid. And we've heard a lot today about the consequences of unplanned downtime and how that is the #1 priority of most manufacturers is to avoid it at all costs. So this data, although I said it is a little bit dated, I think it's still valid in that business interruption turns out to be the greatest risk that our respondents had for that impact on the organization. I'd also like to just point out here that in many cases, the perception is that safety and the environment also take a back seat in many cases to operations. And I think this data, even though it's a little bit lower on the priority list, definitely substantiates the case that it isn't, even though the public perception may think that at times. So what are we talking about when we talk about operational risk management? And this actually applies to any type of risk, but here, as I said, we're going to talk about operational risk. And we're assessing what can go wrong. We're determining which risks are important to address, and we need to implement actions to deal with the highest priority risks. And what is an enterprise's appetite for risk? Well, it's really based on historical precedent. But I need to point out that risk is not always bad. It is also an opportunity if you can find it. So it's up to you to analyze the data and do it well, and you may uncover things that you didn't know were possible before. So it's not always bad. But the optimal scenario that we're pushing here is to prevent losses before they occur. So what are some of the factors contributing to operational risk? Well, right now we see operating plant machinery closer to maximum limits, and we're also operating it longer. Transient operational states are a big factor in risk. A lot of times at shift change, or if we're going live from a planned shutdown or something, the guard is down. We're in that transient state, and things can happen. So you can't ever let your guard down, because the goal is to protect the people and equipment while making the most effective use of each. And I just wanted to share with you ARC's reliability model, because we're really talking a lot about risks and costs. And when we're talking about risk and costs and reliability, what's in the balance here is safety and the benefits. If I do one thing, if I spend a little less here, what's that risk going to be? Can I tolerate it? Can I live with it? Can I not? So it's really a balancing act. And it's up to you to decide what's best for your plant. So when we talk about asset performance management into ARC, we're defining asset performance management, and that's one of the ways that we control risk or manage risk. is to utilize analytics to optimize asset availability and utilization while balancing operational constraints to improve financial results. So we're trying to enable best practices to accomplish critical needs to stay competitive. We're using APM solutions to enable complex decision-making using metrics and provide real-time insight into what's going on in our organizations so that we can achieve those goals and objectives relevant to the organization. Ralph showed this slide in the previous session, so I won't go into any great detail, but let's suffice to say that APM synchronizes operations and maintenance with organizational goals, and you can't forget that. In our speakers this afternoon, we have some good ones, I might add, we'll talk to this point and highlight what their experiences have been, and I think you'll find that they've achieved some great things. So again, the upcoming speakers will speak to real-world examples of asset performance management, and they may call it something else, but when we get down to the task level, that's what we're doing. So just to, some key technologies of asset performance management. We've heard about collaboration all day. We're going to hear about it again this afternoon. All of these particular solutions, applications, impact asset performance management either directly or tangentially. And not everyone needs all the same information. They need to see the information in the context of their role. So obviously the source of a lot of this data that we're making these decisions on, even at the ERP level, comes from the plant floor. So we can't ignore that information. We have to use it to the best advantage that we can. So again, just to wrap up here, asset performance management requires collaborative solutions. It requires integration with all of these particular other applications. We can't operate in a vacuum. So we're going to hear some real-world examples now.